Hello, my name is Lewis, and I'm going to do a few videos on the story of my life. And of course, the first question I'd be asking if I was you out there is, well, who is Lewis and why is he doing this video story in the first place? First of all, our world has changed drastically. We're in a new world. We're in a social media world, computer world, digital age. Many times we don't see the person on the other side of the computer, so we really don't know who we're talking to, who we're dealing with. So one reason is just to get my name out there and that you can get to know me a little bit. Secondly, I have some dreams and visions I want to go ahead and share. So I'm going to put together some different videos and slides, and you can decide how many you want to watch and look at. Um, when I stop and I review my life, I'm currently at the time of this recording, age 59, almost 60. When I stop and I look back on 60 years, obviously I'm going to say to myself, well, what am I going to share? What am I going to talk to these people about? And with 60 years, there's obviously quite a few stories. So I've jotted down a few stories and I'm going to go ahead and talk about them a little bit. Generally, most people don't talk about religion or politics or different things like that. Unfortunately, it's hard to talk about our story without talking about some of the stories and issues and where we've come from. So I'm going to cover a few things that some of the way that I actually grew up. I actually grew up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, United States, and South Florida in 1957. And it was a very small city at that time. But through a process of events, I actually got involved with the church and actually went to the church uh, for 43 years out of my 60 years. So more than two-thirds of my life, I actually went to one church in South Florida. Just going to go through the story a little bit. It'll sort of set a basis of a lot of the other stories that I say into the future. And the way it started out is my grandfather on my mother's side was actually a carpenter. He traveled around from state to state, um, framing homes, wood framing, construction. So wherever the work was, that's where he went. And he just happened to be in Fort Lauderdale at this one time around 1956-57. My grandmother on my dad's side actually lived in Fort Lauderdale. Both of my grandmothers just happened to be going to this little mission church in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale. In the process of this, you can call it a coincidence or whatever you want to say, but my mom and my dad met at a restaurant and started dating, and in the process, the moms asked them to come to the church there to visit. They were both about 17, 18, 19, right in there. They decided to come to this church. In the process, they got married. They decided to go to the church, and a year later, after they were married, I was born, and I was associated with that church for the next 43 years. So I guess all of us are really a product of our environment. Some of us have maybe grown up in a home like that. Some of us maybe have not been involved with it at all. It seems totally foreign, but I guess we're all a product of our environment and that around us. This wasn't really a usual church. It was a small little rescue mission, and what it did is it helped alcoholics and homeless people to get off the street. And they would have a service at the church for the guys as well. In the process, myself, my siblings, and my parents would go to the church there, and in the process, we would meet these different guys that was in the program. And from the very beginning, they just became my friends, almost like an uncle. And I remember sitting in the back of the church many times. It was these donated theater seats. It would flip up just like you have in a theater. And on the bottom of all these seats, you'd have this bubble gum where everybody stuck their gum underneath their seat when they sat down. Of course, when it flipped up, everybody saw the gum. But so it wasn't your usual church at all. But these guys was always eating black licorice, and they would offer me and my sisters licorice and different things, and really treat us like their own kids. So it was quite an experience, and I grew up where I just really cared for the people that came in the program. the alcoholics, homeless people, and later even drug addicts. So that's sort of the beginning of my story, and I'll go through some other stories as we step through it here in just a moment. Hope you're having a great day. Talk to you later now.